Hey Floss Tube, it's January 31st and I'm coming at you with a Floss Tube Extra. This one is on floss storage. So today I'm going to review what I've been doing. Previously I've just used Ziploc bags and tried to color coordinate some of the colors together, and then I just listed on a little card inside the actual numbers for DMC. Now this storage is mainly for all my DMC. I will maybe add on when I get to my fancy floss as to how I'm storing that. But I have this container. It's a file container. It has the little file rings here on the sides. And then I've stored all of my different bags as they are together with similar colors. And then when I need something, and if I know it's like a yellow, I can just grab my yellow bag and see if I even have it. And if I do, I've put on here like if I have 2 or 3 and try to keep up with them as I take them in and out. But then I can go in and find it. And if not, then I know I have to go purchase it. So what I'm going to do instead is I have gone and purchased from an Etsy store these acrylic file holders. And these acrylic, they're not rulers, we always say acrylic rulers, but they're for a file and file folder holder, and it has the color and the number. And I picked one that had all 446 threads or whatever. So I could take these and dump them all out and then put these little file folders in here because they have the lips on them. And then they just store in here like this. And then you can attach your floss onto the little holes underneath and then store it in here. And this has a handle and everything, and there's not very many of them. So they just slide right on there, and then you can just have all your floss. So I may keep them in here, or what I have right now is they recommend using this type of a box. Now, I know they sell them at like some of the Staples, or what did we have? We had a store here that we used. It's now gone. Walmart carries them. Probably maybe Target would carry them. The group that I got was this, there's a lot of them in here. I think there's 25 different pieces of acrylic file holders that go through all the different colors. This set includes the first 1 through 36, is it? That's like the new set here. 1 through, 34. So, and then like at the beginning, it has, you can see B52, Blanco, Ecru, and they're all that color. They're colored the right, color, so you kind of, if you picked one out and you go, that's not the right color, then you've got something wrong. So that helps. With these acrylic pieces, you can also buy, it comes with, or you can order, it's a added charge, these little hooks, but they're plastic. They have like a little peg, and so they kind of separate, and then the peg goes in the side when you circle them back around. And I like that because it makes them a lot lighter. However, I just got the acrylic pieces because I wanted to use the metal ones, which I just ordered a set of 500 from Amazon, just like this. And I read the reviews, and they all work really good. My reasoning behind it is I wanted to be able to, I have sometimes 2 or 3 pieces of thread in the same colors. I've ordered a lot of my colors. I ordered them back in the day off eBay when I was doing punch needle, when I was doing embroidery things, long before I got back into cross stitch. I had a bunch from cross stitch from the beginning as well. And then when I was in my huge long stint of, really quilting only, I did a lot of punch needle. Well, I had been ordering floss, DMC, from different people online for super cheap. You can get used stuff. Now you take the risk of possibly having it smell or maybe not be labeled right. But like I know I got this big bag back in the day. There was 150 different colors, and they were all brand new. Now they were older. You can tell by the labels, when they're a little bit older. Um, but this floss I have so far seen not a lot of brittle breakage. Now I will say with some of the quilting um, thread that I've used, I suppose because it's a little bit thinner, um, it tends to break down more. I have not, knock on wood, yet noticed over a 10-year time span or so having any of this type of floss break down on me. So the reason I went with this, there are so many storage solutions out there, and I encourage you to do your research, to look at all of them that are out there. Back in the day when I was a kid, literally like 40 years ago, I had the little cards that were plastic, and they had the little tabs at the end and the bottom, and you wound it around there. They even make a little crank so that you get you put your DMC floss in the one little slot that's on those cards, and then you just use the crank, and it just cranks right around. As you do that, it just spins them, and that is a great way to do it. However, for me personally, I had enough old floss pieces that when I went to pull them off, I had crick, 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 like every inch and a half, however wide the little plastic pieces were. The floss bobbins, I guess the bobbins, right? If you bobbinate, that's what they call it, is bobbinating. I had little, and maybe it's because I wound it too tight. I don't know. But they had nice little storage cases for those, and I loved putting them in there. And as I started to outgrow it and then started to pull them off years later, if I hadn't used a color for a while, then every couple inches I had, a bend, a bend, a bend, a bend, a bend, a bend, a bend. So you had this long piece of floss, and it had like, crink, 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 which is not a big deal. A lot of times I will use a thread magic, and I pull it through. So therefore, it's not wax. It's a synthetic type of thread. It's not like lotion, but it's a thread softener or something so that it keeps it from knotting up or getting, crinked. And I will say, even if I have to unstitch, that this works great, because sometimes, I don't have any here, but sometimes if you have to pick something out, if it's not too long of a piece, and it's not been in there too long, but sometimes it's real tight and kinky, and you just better off cutting it off and starting fresh. But I will say, if I pull this through, it does tend to condition it again and make it so that it's not impossible to, reuse. So this would be something, if you used the bobbins, that does help to soften them so that it takes out those crinks as you wind it around the small little bobbins. I had a bunch. I don't know where they're at. I was going to bring them and show you, because that's definitely one way of storing floss if you don't have a lot. I have pretty close to almost all the colors. I'm getting there to that point. So therefore, that's why this is a bin from school. So I don't think they make them in black anymore. At least I didn't see any online. Now they're like clear, which is super pretty and nice. This says Monica Gum's 3rd grade, weeks 1 through 20, or weeks 1 through 36, because I used to have all my files, and I, every week the papers and stuff that I used, I put in here. And then I had switched from 3rd grade, and then I went to library, reading specialist, different things. So I've cleaned it all out now, and I'm decided to use this for storing my floss. I really liked a solution online that was, it came in little bins, I think you needed 4 of them because there's maybe 100 to a bin. And with those, you would do the same kind of thing. You could hang your floss, but then you don't know, like if you hang them just on here, like if I was to undo it just like these are and hang it this way, which you totally can, my problem is once I go to take it off of here and put it on either a floss bobbin, or if I was just to put it in a group of them on a ring, like say I didn't, attach it to this, if it was just there, I still have to go through then and mark it. If I haven't marked them all and put them on something like this in the first place, then I'm now having to go through and mark them. That's why I liked the rings instead of just trying, like opening it up, getting it all ready to go and putting it on here. I'm not very good at spending the time to do that. Like I literally get it from Hobby Lobby, Michael's, Joann's, wherever I get my DMC, and I usually buy them for a project, and I try to keep them separated when I get them home and stick them in the bags if I'm actually kitting something up. But if I'm going through like I am now and say I just got the $5 Michael's voucher and I was like, okay, I can get 8 things of thread pretty much for free. I think it was 30 cents after tax. Then these just need to get put on here. But then that way when I go to kit something up, I can grab it right off of here, just undo this, take this part, and then know what it is. It's still labeled and marked. So that's why you could order a special order from this company because they will custom anything for you. And you could get a set of like for your fancy floss if you wanted as well. I'm going to do a different solution with my fancy floss. And I'll show that. I don't know if I'll put it on here or if I'll wait and show it on another video. But I like this idea because I can have all my DMC floss here and I still have plenty of room to put folders back here, and then I can start putting all of my charts and things that I want to do or start to kit, pull from here and start to kit them in here if I choose to. Where before, sorry, my dog, where before I kept them in this like file folder that you would use for taxes or, just storing some paperwork. So right now I have them in here. So like, let's say I pull out this group. This group is like Easter. So I've got some Easter charts in here. Well, now then I can either sort them by, in here I had them seasonal, but now I can sort them by season in these folders, or I can sort them by designer. Just depends, And then now I've got all my charts and most all of my floss, except for maybe what I'm doing with the fancy floss. Now, if you want to put fancy floss on here, see like these, I just have some already, set in there. If you want to do the longer pieces of fancy floss, like these, you could have them label you some. You could buy some just without any labels, and then you could put your own little stickers on there and label them whatever you wanted. I still would get these pieces because then you don't have to take them off of this. Because if you take every one of these off of the little cardboard that it comes on, you have to relabel it. So if you're going to take it off and put it on here, which is what I did with this one. So this is Weeks Straw, okay? Put it on here, you got to label this and make sure that that's on there, which is totally fine. If this is the kind of way you love to store these, and trust me, I bought a ton of them, then that's great. And you could as well, if you had clear ones or if you had them make you some, you can just hang them on there too. And they just lay right in your file as well, and you've got fancy floss in there too. So, and maybe I'll do that eventually down the road. I'm going to try something else for now because with the fancy floss, I like to see them because some of them are really variegated, some of them are not. Even the die lots, when you get something, they're different sometimes. So if I order something new and I put it, like if I have 2 toasted barleys, I might want to look at them together, and see them versus pulling them out of here. And as I'm starting to do some designing, I like to be able to see them. The DMC, they're just a solid color. Like I know what I'm looking at. And with that, I'm going to have to just kind of pull through here anyway and see what kind of, the different kinds of colors I want to use for different things anyway. So this is my newest storage solution that I found. I really love it. I'm going to post some pictures on here afterward when I get all of it set up for you to see how well it works. And then I think it's going to be a lot better than this. I'm going to know what I have a lot easier as I go to pull and need things for kits and stuff. So I just really like it. I think it's going to work great for me. If you needed to, you wanted to put them all on floss bobbins ahead of time, you can do that. Now, again, just get the ring, because if you can't just put them on there unless you're going to, then you have to make sure you label them every time you pull them off right away, which again is not that big a deal. I just like having them so I can throw them in a kit. But get the rings. The rings were super cheap, 20 bucks for 500 of them on Amazon. And I thought that was going to work good. Now, as far as weight goes, I suppose that's why they use the plastic ones, because these metal ones are definitely, this bag's pretty heavy. So it is going to make them a little bit heavier to carry and have in there. And maybe plastic with the plastic is better than having the metal on it. I don't know. I'm not going to be too crazy with them, so I think I'll be okay. But I think I really like the look of it. I like how it's, in here. I can always use a smaller one if I want to and use this, and they just lay in there so nicely, and you can see the colors and the numbers so well. I just love that idea. So that's what it looks like. That's what they are. So I hope I've given you some new ideas of things to possibly use for your storage, as well as you try to find what works best as you keep your floss around. And my biggest thing is I just like to be able to easily access. And, each one of us has our own ways of how we set things up and do things. So I hope you can find what works best for you. This is just one more option. The name of the company is from Etsy, and it is Incredible Stitching. I will list it below. I'll also put on here, this is their Etsy QR code. Maybe you can scan it from your phone. I don't know if it'll work. I'm just trying to see. This shows you some other solutions as well. They've got this cute little storage area where it's the same idea, and then you've got little ones here if you already have, like I was talking about with the little cards already, with the floss already wound on those. You can get one with a carrying case to keep them all nice and stored that way. Then there's this one. I almost got that one as well. Those are more like a pressed particle board kind of thing. And then it does have like a cover for it. So it does cover them. I do think that is something you do want to think about, is keeping them out of the light. That's why I was okay to have this older one. I mean, I thought I'd get a new one, but I can just pull off that. I can get some glue gun and pull that tape off and make it look a little bit nicer. But I was okay with it being black, because then it will keep the light out of it and I won't have to worry about them fading. And then the last one, I don't know what that one is. I think that's just something that you can get, like a different kind of huge amount of different colored threads, but there are some that lay out, and then you lay your all your floss in, like I think there's even some patterns that you can buy. They're maybe 2 feet or 3 feet long, and then there's like a 4-inch or so piece of plastic that goes all along like a mat, and then it's sewn every maybe 5 inches or so, and then you can just lay your DMC floss in the plastic area And then you kind of like roll it up or fold it up. And then you've got them all, when you go to unroll it, you can see them there. And you could put them in numerical order, because sometimes my best friend Ann and I always talk about, oh my goodness, DMC, like these colors don't go together. The number system, the way they've added things in, their numbers are not very, you got blue here, you got blue here, you got, brown here, you've got brown back here, and then all the way throughout. So they've done a good job of continuing to add colors, which is great. But, and they've got some limited edition ones that are out there. And now they've added that 1 through 35 at the beginning. It's just not grouped. Like, it would be great if you had, 924 through 968, and it went lightest blue to darkest blue. And you'd have them all right there, and you could just see them all and see what went with what. But that's not how they do it. That's okay. So we'll make it work. This is why I liked this the best. I think it sets it up the nicest. And I will say the company that I bought these from did just one heck of an amazing job of these. I'm not affiliated with them. They have no idea who I am. I just found them online at Christmas time and purchased the product. Thought I would invest in something that I would enjoy, for quite a few years, and then go from there. So thanks for hanging out with me today, and I'll try and post some pictures when I get things all set up. Have a great rest of your winter. Keep stitching. I hope, like, today's really rainy for us. I hope that if you're cold or rainy or whatever, that you can take solace in the fact that you can be inside stitching. So take care. Have a good one. Bye-bye. Okay, so I'm updating how I have decided to move forward with my floss storage and give you a look into how it goes now that it's all full. So really there's not room to add the storage of the folders back here, the filing folders that I thought maybe I would use for storing patterns and charts. So I'm okay with that. All of these are full of threads of flosses. So this is what it looks like. Now, it's not totally full. All of them have a couple of spaces maybe, because I don't have all the DMCs, but I just love how this looks. You can fit quite a few skeins when you need to on a ring if you have multiples. So maybe you've used the same kind of colors over and over again, and they're not full. Like I always just wrap them at the top, or I wrap them around the middle if I've started one and didn't finish it. And that's how I store mine. So like, for instance, this one, I will have pulled off some, and then I've got a little extra, and I just tie it on the center there like that. So this is a great way. I love it. I can just immediately, like with one hand, pop open my ring, pull off the floss that I want, and it's still labeled. You can take all these and pull them all out, and then just like you would do on one of these, you can wrap it this way as well around one of these spots, just like that. But my reason for keeping them on and labeled is that then I don't have to worry when I pull them off as to what color it is. It's still got the label, it's still got the number on it. So then I'm not having to pull it off and relabel it. If you have if you want to make a whole bunch of floss drops with one of every color on it, then you could take that color, you have a big ring with all 400 colors on it. That's great. I don't want to take the time to do that. So these work out perfect for me. So that's how quick and easy. They're all labeled with the number. I love how it works. And they're beautiful. Just pull them out, and all your flosses are right there. And they're in order, 1 through whatever. I mean, it goes, the first couple, have numbers 1 to 35 or whatever, and then it goes into the the hundreds, 500, all the way up to the 3000s in there. So all the DMC numbers are listed on there. Then what I've chosen to do for my fancy floss is to use one of these. I think they're a jewelry holder thing, and this one's like 3-tiered. I only have the 2 tiers going right now. So I put my Classic Colorworks on the bottom. I have some left on the top. And then, you know, I've got my Weeks and I've got Gentle Arts hanging here. I don't have a ton of this kind of floss, but what I do have of it, I like to just have laid out for me. And then I cover it with a bag because to keep the dust off and to keep any sort of color, you know, they're hand dyed and you don't want the color to just with fluorescent lights or with sunlight, you know, hitting them, you don't want it to be the colors to eventually fade. So you can also order from this company. You could order, they make customized ones. You could have them customized for Classic Colorworks or Weeks or whatever, and then make another bin for your fancy floss. And then you can either put them on the spiral like that, like one of these, and hang them here, just like your DMC is. Or you could put them on like I showed you earlier, if you were to just hang them like this. So that's all I have for you today. Those are the ways I store my floss, and I hope it was helpful for you to see a new way. Thanks.